purpose of this video is to demonstrate the preferred casting method for a toed T-brace. Basic tools that we need to do the operation: we need your gloves, a casting rack, scissors, an interface between the patient and your cast, your cut strip, of course water, and a couple of methods for cast removal. It could be a hook blade and a cut knife, or a standard cast saw. Most important aspects of casting for a T-brace are establishing a proper height of the cast, which needs to come to the patellar tendon, an adequate mark showing where the tibial crest is. I also need to have, if we're treating for plantar ulcers, if there are ulcerations in the bottom of the foot, they need to be marked in the cast also. If they're not for a plantar ulcer and it's for an orthopedic use, such as a fracture, indicate that on the order form. And if it is also for ulcerations, mark on here also where the ulcers are and what aspects of the foot we're trying to unload. We want to have one cotton layer interface between the patient and the cast that we can make our marks on and place our cut strip under. Make sure we cover the toes so we can get a full casting that will show us where the ends of the toes are, as well as the sulcus of the foot. When placing your cut strip, placement of the cut strip along the tibial crest helps us in the fabrication method, so we have a full identification of the tibial crest if we want to make an adequate relief for the patient. Once you're placing, it's time to do the marking. Make sure we're high enough that we capture that patellar tendon. So height of the patellar tendon. The cut strip is down the tibial crest. I still would prefer to have a mark. We'll make the assumption that this patient model has an ulceration. Say it's a 4-foot ulceration. That would be enough to get the cast taken care of. For a casting material, I prefer a 5-inch wrap, although any casting method is useful. It can be plaster, it can also be a casting sock. Just be sure to capture from the foot all the way to that patellar tendon. Begin my wrap as high as I can to capture the patellar tendon, get into the popliteal space. I do a 50% overlap to give myself a nice thin cast so I can capture all the details to make a well-fitting T-brace with proper intimacy for proper suspension. Just up to those toes. Once I rubbed it in, I'm ready to hold the patient's leg. I want to maintain this at 90 degrees as best as possible, depending on contractures or orthopedic requirements. The other part would, I want to have the leg suspended so I don't compress the calf muscle or cause any splaying of that muscle. Once the cast is firmed hard enough that you can cut through it, but not so firm that it's hard to take off, you're ready to remove it from the patient. Begin by cutting it at the top along the cut strip, assuring your patient you'll leave all their toes. The hook blade works very well. Draw it right along your cut strip. Careful as you come through this section. Pull your cut strip out. Cut the remaining fabric liner. Peel it off your patient's foot. Then check the cast to ensure you've captured all the shapes you want. You have the height you need, and any markings that don't come through on the inside, you can mark on the outside of the cast. From here, seal the cast up with tape or staples, put the patient's name on it, and indicate the type of brace we're going to make, and whether we're using it for an orthopedic use or for pressure relief for ulcerations in the plantar surface of the foot. After completion of casting or removing from the patient, before shipping, please review your cast. Ensure the patient's name is on the cast. You have an adequate height up to the patellar tendon, and we are able to see that. You have a good defined tibial crest, and any marks that are needed to demonstrate areas of unloading on the plantar surface of the foot. Please ensure that your paperwork is complete, indicating again the patient's name, a due date, the type of issue we're dealing with, whether it's orthopedic or just purely unloading for diabetic ulcerations. Please package it together and mail it to Toad Medical Corporation in Reno, Nevada. If you have questions regarding special options, needs, or if you're concerned if a patient may or not be a good candidate, please give us a call. The phone number is listed on the website. We will be glad to discuss any options or needs that you have.